Yeah, hi everybody. My name's Scott Taylor. I'm Chief Operating Officer at AlphaCert Labs. Delighted to be here talking to you in this video podcast today. With me is our Global Head of Product, James Milne. James has been with AlphaCert since I think it's about 2012, right from the beginning, and has a lot of insights in the market and also what we're doing with the product. So James, just in the first question, what have you seen in 2023 and where are we going with the product next year?
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Pleasure to be here for this podcast with you today. Good question. 2023 has been a pretty full-on year for us. I think the key themes that we've seen in terms of AlphaCert and our customers and the needs out there in the industry have really been around regulatory reporting. So that's a real focus area for us at the moment. The key pieces that we're working on at the moment are around the disclose register and disclosures in the New Zealand market. So all New Zealand funds are required on a quarterly basis to disclose to the NZFMA all of their holdings, full portfolio holdings disclosure, all of their return data, all of their fund data. And also that data goes up on their websites in terms of the quarterly fund updates, PDFs, etc. So that's been a real key focus for us is really taking the manual processes out of getting that data together, collating it, checking it, validating it, and getting it towards the website. So lots of manual spreadsheets and the like, and copying and pasting that our customers do. We're looking to streamline that for our customers. So lots of focus there. We're in beta with our first customer there at the moment. So, looking forward to rolling that out to the New Zealand market in 2024. I think another key bit around regulatory reporting is looking to the APRA regulations as well, and working with Australian customers at the moment just around the APRA reporting. Specifically for us, it's anything with the investment data focus out of those APRA reports. So key one or one of the key pain points for Australian customers is around that SRS 550 asset allocation reporting. So that's what we're putting a lot of focus into at the moment.
Yeah, and we've spoken with a lot of customers this year, haven't we? And if you look at their what prospects and customers in the industry are really nervous about is that key person dependency and the risk. And I guess that's what the product's trying to address.
Yeah. At a general level, I think the regulatory bodies, not just in New Zealand and Australia, but globally, are really starting to create a whole lot of pressure on operational teams, and that means that funds are having to do more with less, or more with the same amount of resources. It's really putting some time and operational pressure. And the questions or the demand for data that's coming into these operational teams and these data management teams is really increasing, not quite linearly, but almost exponentially. And you want to, with a data management platform like ours, you want to be operating on an exception basis. So all of your data is coming in, being checked and validated, and going out almost seamlessly, with the exception of a couple of exceptions that you want to drill into and check before your data goes to downstream systems or teams or gets used in those business processes. So, all of our effort with our customers is really geared towards taking the friction out of those processes and making it as seamless as possible, so that they can meet the increasing requirements of these regulators and as well as their internal teams. The volume of data coming in, as you know, talking to customers and the like, is really increasing. The market data, the data coming from custodians, all of your internal data and the requests around those are really increasing. So
yeah, and then you got ESG, and as you know, it's one of the mega trends that got spoken about a lot this year.
Yeah,
that data, but I guess that's like any data source, isn't it? It's once you got the platform there to get the data in. Is what you do with the data.
Yeah, absolutely. And from our perspective, again, looping back to that regulatory reporting, we've got structures in place to hold ESG data within the platform and combine that with portfolio holdings data as well. And it's really a watching brief in terms of what is the regulation going to be around ESG data. What are you going to have to report? And based on that, we'll be able to meet those requirements. But yeah, all the structures are in place at the moment for what our customers need to capture from ESG providers. It's just now a matter of what the regulations will say in the coming years, 2024 and beyond.
Yeah, I can see it just saving so much efficiency. And what we've found is it's been a real sort of focal point in our discussions with prospects as well, is that actually, how can you save me time? How can you save me time so that we can spend more time on adding additional value to, growing the fund or growing member returns, which is a key part of what organisations are looking for at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. And that how can you save me time piece with one of our larger customers, we were just having a session the other day around what does our outlook look like in 2024, what are we going to focus on? And one of the key pieces is that operational efficiency, and we're down to how can we save 20 minutes in the afternoon. The data comes in, it's a new provider now, so it's been pushed slightly later. How can we then look at all the processes that they're doing across the afternoon and try to shave minutes off that process so that they can get it into the hands of their teams faster, going through all the checks and validation it needs to.
Yeah, and the reconciliation process is something we've been able to save quite a bit of time. I think there was one customer that we've helped with recently who was spending sort of 4 hours, but now they can do it in the click of a button. Do you just want to talk on that?
Yeah, absolutely. One of our customers here in New Zealand, again, business processes that they used to run across the data as it came in throughout the day, an elapsed time maybe of 4 hours across an 8-hour day for one person, now having all the data streamlined within AlphaCert, coming in on schedule, going through all the checks automatically, and all the outbound processes set up. It's now taking one click, as you say, so a minute to do this process that used to take 4 hours to manually tie all this data together. Yeah. And that's we've seen that repeated across a number of customers when you've got a manually heavy environment, typically using Excel spreadsheets within multi-billion-dollar funds. When we're putting in a data management system like AlphaCert to organise and collate all of your investment data management processes and your investment data together, and then running everything off the back of that, it's really shaving hours, days off the process, and making it so much more efficient for teams.
Yeah, and James, we've been to a number of conferences this year, and there's some real common themes that are coming out of those conferences. Everybody's at sort of different stages of the data maturity model, and I know you've spent a lot of time developing our data maturity model, which is online, and it's a very simple tool. In terms of one of the key themes is the challenge of getting people capability into organisations, and we talk around our team. It's not just getting a BA resource, but it's getting a BA resource that has that data domain knowledge, particularly in the investment management space. And we've done a lot of work this year in terms of helping clients. The JP Morgan migration of one of our largest clients was a massive project. And do you just want to talk a bit about the role that we've played in providing that sort of capability? Because I think that's quite key.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's where AlphaCert sits. We're obviously a technology platform for investment data specifically, but also our teams are deeply knowledgeable in investment data, how it all sits together. And I think a key part of that is our BAs, our business analysts, as well as our technical people having that deep domain knowledge, so that we can go into customers, we can look at their data, we can look at what they're trying to do around their business processes, we can help to streamline those processes. We can map the data as it should be into an industry standard common domain model, and then we understand all the structures around that data. So at our core, what we're trying to do is create a best practice industry standard data model behind everything, and our BAs can go into any customer. As you said, a couple of large customers, ACC Investments and Australian Super this year, going through custodian projects where JP Morgan was moving their custodial systems in the back end, so moving from Highport to Invest One. I think within that, we were able to go in, we were able to see commonalities across those two customers, we were able to interpret the data really well and show how it should be structured when we come back onto our common domain model, and also learn with our customers. As we went through the process, we learned, okay, what is the current state and future state of this data look like? How can we best apply the business rules and transformations that you need across that? So, the business analysis between our team and our customers is a key part of that service that we offer, and a key part of any project or any engagement with customers.
Yeah.
And back to you, Scott. You've probably been the one that's been to a few more of the conferences and sat on panels as well this year. What have you seen as the major trends that have been talked about, the major themes coming out of those conferences you've been to?
Yeah, so we're starting to engage with a lot of consultants at these conferences, and it's a great way to network and get known within the industry. What it is doing, though, is actually validating our thinking, and the fact that what consultants are saying is, these various stages of data maturity. Some fund managers and smaller super funds just don't know how to frame the business case to actually get started. Now, what we've seen actually is a lot of people are introducing people or further cost into the business to actually do jobs which can be done really efficiently through the investment in a platform, for example. So I think there's that natural perception that a data management platform, particularly an enterprise scale, and we've got a SaaS model as well, which is a new kind of avenue for us that we can, we've got a platform that are used by some of the biggest funds in the industry that are offered at really, good entry-level pricing for a lot of funds which are probably in that 5 to 20 billion space. They're growing fast. They need to invest in technology, but we've seen that a lot of people actually invest in people instead. And just to touch on a couple of points there that you brought up, the platform that we have services our largest customer at circa 300 billion. But as you say, we've also got the same platform implemented with customers with just a few $1 billion under management. So the same platform scaling right up to that enterprise level, as well as servicing use cases for really the smaller end of the market. And I think you also touched on a number of funds maybe not knowing how to get started or where to get started. And I think when we encounter that, what we try and encourage is, let's take one simple use case and start there and take a thin slice. We don't want to boil the ocean when there's so many use cases that these funds and operational teams are dealing with. We don't want to try and boil the ocean within an initial implementation. We can get set up in weeks. So let's implement the platform. Let's solve a key use case that's maybe a major pain point, and then let's go from there. What do you need to tackle next? What else is really causing some process inefficiency or really causing some pain within your teams? Yeah, and I like what you and the product team have done to speed up our delivery, because I actually think that's a real a point of difference for us. Is a lot of people perceive this to be a large project, but the reality is, and you've proven that we could have AlphaCert set up in about 8 weeks, and that's getting down each implementation that we do. And a point that you raised there is the one use case will enable you and the team to deliver value quickly. So, and I think that's a real key thing.
Yeah, all about that time to value. That's exactly what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And lots of work, as you say, on the efficiency of our onboarding process and the efficiency of bringing new data sources and new data files from custodians or API connections from market data providers onto the platform, so that we can really try and speed up that onboarding project. How do we take it? We've taken it from months down to weeks. Now, how do we take it down even further from that?
Now, James, we've got global aspirations, and we've talked about this as a leadership team. You know, there's obviously a very big focus on ANZ at the moment. We've done a number of demos to funds in the US and also UK now. We're not just a super fund data management platform. It's not just the market that we're targeting. We're targeting boutique, smaller funds now, which are really interested in what we're doing. Do you just want to sort of talk about that a bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. The as you say, the market globally is massive. Multi-trillions of dollars of funds under management across numerous geographies, and I think the key thing is the data structures underneath them are all the same. So the data that we are storing from the providers, these are global providers, global custodian banks, global market data providers. We've built the platform, from a New Zealand, Australian base, but the data challenges and the underlying data will be the same across geographies. It's really what are the nuances in terms of the systems that you're using, the teams and use cases that those teams are solving within geographies, and also the regulatory reporting that's required within each one of those geographies. And as we see across New Zealand and Australian markets, those are really close in terms of the requirements there. As we look to other more global markets, I'm sure we'll find lots of crossover as well, as we look to solve regulatory challenges across the globe. In terms of the boutique and the fund manager discussions, that probably $5 to $50 billion funds is where we see a lot of growth potential. So we've got our enterprise, and that's a very tailored offering into exactly what the enterprise customers need out of the platform, and those use cases which are often backed by large organisations and working through how we exist within a large organisational ecosystem. But then at the $5 to $50 billion fund, how do we get in? How do we get set up quickly? And how do we start giving that time to value? And as we say, we're used to the data structures that are behind all of those feeds from providers, from APIs, custodian banks. We want to get in. We want to make a difference fast. So that's what our goal is there.
So tell me this, James. There's one thing that I've really struggled with. It's been probably over a number of years now. If you look at a fund's or a fund manager's strategy, one of our biggest competitors is people electing to do it themselves. And given that we've spent sort of 100+ person years developing the platform, and every 3 weeks there's additional enhancements getting built in the code, why would an organisation elect to go down that path?
It's a very good question, Scott. Yeah. I think internally, if there's always that question around buy versus build in terms of software. So when you look at a build scenario, I think a lot of people are thinking short term. I can get a team, I can build some stuff, I can hang my Excel reports off the end of that, job done. But if you look longer term, you look at the total cost of ownership. You've then got to support whatever platform you've got over time. You've got to make sure that you're keeping up to date with the latest security updates, the latest framework updates from your provider. You've got to sort out all of the cloud hosting. you've got to be in sync with all the APRA or the local regulations around data security and operational security around that data and risk. So I think a lot of funds or potentially IT departments within those funds that we talk to are taking a view where, yes, I can get a team and I can build something that meets my exact requirements, but what about the next thing? What about keeping that team fed and watered? What about getting all of the skills that you need? Because it's then not just a skills equation within the fund management side, it's a skills equation within the IT side around all your DevOps practices and building in all of your quick delivery of fixes to production, etc. So all of those things need to be weighed into these decisions, and I think often they're not considered. We're just or teams might just be considering the initial outcome. Can I meet this? Yes, I can spin up a team and meet my goal number one. And I think we see that often. We're of course advocating for you to buy a platform, AlphaCert, and we look after all of those things on your behalf. So all of the cloud infrastructure requirements, all of the security requirements, all of the operational requirements. We've got all the development teams in-house and all of the support in-house, etc. So I think the other side to that coin, I suppose, when we talk to our customers or people that we're talking to in the industry, and you can probably shed a bit of light on this as well in terms of your discussions, are what's your core business? Are you a software shop, or do you want to be a software shop to build something to manage your investment data, or do you want to focus on what you're good at, which is making investments and generating returns for your fund holders or your members? And at the end of the day, I think that would be the focus of a lot of our customers and a lot of the people in the industry. And that question really needs to be asked up front. What do we want to be? What do we want to be the best at?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, teams at a strategic level that are working well together will look at how they can get the data from source to the data and insights team, or the people that are making the decisions, as quickly as possible. But organisations that operate in silos, i.e. you've got IT making decisions without, stakeholder engagement right across the business, I think in time will struggle. Yeah, because it's all about actually working together, bringing those efficiencies into the organisation, and time is money. And if you can save time and at the same time mitigate risk, then it's highly likely you're going to generate better returns, because you're getting the data and the information to the decision holders quickly.
Yep.
I think people underestimate the accuracy. Like, there's an assumption that data coming in through custodians and data sources is all accurate, but that's not always the case, is it?
Yeah, and I think that accurate piece is a it's an interesting term to drill into, because for a custodian bank, it's accurate as it is supplied from their point of view. But when you take it from a fund manager or a fund's point of view, it may not be the view of the world that the fund wants to put on the data. It's the custodian bank or the market data provider, it's their view of the world. So then once you start bringing it into a platform, what additional layers of transformation or logic or turning it into the house view of the world, if you like, do you want to take on top of that data? So I think that term accurate is it's certainly a term that we need to drill into with our customers. How do you want to see the data? What makes sense to you versus how it's been supplied? Yeah, and just going back to the previous point, Scott, strategically for 2024, you've been involved with a lot of discussions around customers, customer visions, I guess, and customer goals for the coming year ahead. Is there anything specific that's coming out of those in terms of how customers are thinking about the mega trends, thinking about what's coming in 2024 that they want to be strategically aligned on?
I think data is, the organisations that seem to be really ploughing forward, they've got data as part of their strategy, and I think that's really important. Like a lot of big organisations have actually brought in head of data roles, and they're starting to invest in data capability. There's still a few mergers that are going on, particularly in in Australia, in the market there, and I think with those mergers, there'll be focus on operational efficiencies and making sure that integration is done well. To do that, you're going to need good data capability. And I think there's a lot of boutique funds that we're seeing in the market that are really, they're starting to experience growth pains. So they've been able to sort of, manage up until now with a few people, spreadsheets, but they're starting to sort of creak a little bit as they grow. And I think for the funds that are really starting to move ahead and get a competitive advantage are those that are actually investing in systems and looking to automate that data. And I think that's really, really going to be key. Two avenues you can go down. You can either, to your point earlier, with the complexity of data and ESG, put that into the mix. You're either going to invest in more people, which arguably would be more costs that you bring into the business, or you get a platform and you look for process efficiency and retain your people capability as is. Because the investment in a system, as we know, it's way more cost effective in the long term.
And that people capability, using those people for what they're good at, which is analysis of the data, adding value to those processes rather than maybe tying data together in Excel spreadsheets manually and cutting and pasting and writing VLOOKUPs and macros and that type of thing, using your people for exactly what they're employed to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we better sort of, I could talk with you all day about this, as you know, and I hope it's been a pleasure working with you this year, and hope you have a great holiday with your family. I know you've got a well-deserved break coming up. And to you, all our customers and prospects out there, we've really enjoyed catching up over the last sort of 12 months, and we're really looking forward to meeting you again in 2024 as we look to do further advancements with our product. But if we can help, please reach out. Merry Christmas to you all.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody, and see you in 2024.